Okay, Fambulem, I bring greetings from the media empire then and now on this 26th day of September 2021. Me when they talk to una this evening, this afternoon, this morning, depending on which part of the world you watch this program. I'm named Prince Emil Koma. In the then and now empire today, we get a very, very special guest. This guest is special in many respects. He's not new to this platform. In fact, a regular contributor to this platform. I go introduce him shortly after I ask una for let we do myself the favor of inviting other people for be part of this national conversation. This conversation is important. It's a threshold now with a set. It's history in the making. And we want to let everybody be a part and parcel of this program. When they say you necessarily need for support, you can get dissenting views. In fact, this is what we are looking for. People that we get opposing views, ones that are diametrically opposed to the editorial, okay? So that we can have that conversation. But in the then and now today, we get none other but the deputy leader of the Alliance Democratic Party, the ADP, none other but Mr. Mfaji Kaba. Mr. Mfaji Kaba is an activist in many respects, both politically, socially, and you name the rest. For a period of time now, quite a significant period of time now, Mr. Mfaji Kaba has been a face of activism, a face for justice, a face for freedom, and a voice for many of those that are distraught in our society. Mr. Kaba now the deputy leader for the Alliance Democratic Party, like I say earlier, and for over a year now, most of us will have become very familiar with this particular face and voice for one particular reason. I know they say another champion, other reasons. Of course, prior to 1 year, they don't do other things then. But for 1 year, it don't be the voice and face for champion, the cause for social justice. We therefore remember that the issue we want to talk about here tonight is relating to one of the most charismatic leaders in terms of opposition for emerge na the Sierra Leonean political scene. I am not saying that we not ever get political leader that we're not charismatic, but one of the most charismatic leader for emerge during this period is none other but Mr. Mohamed Kamaraimba Mansaray. Mr. Mohamed Kamaraimba Mansaray, he fit the bill in many respects of a politician. He get the voice, he get the audacity, he get the temerity, he get the presence, he get the everything where you can talk about where a political leader, be it opposition or in leadership, supposed forget. But sometimes the world over, then same quality than the way you get, then same attributes than the way you get, now they can lead you into trouble. Because then you become the man, not the spotlight, the man with a champion, social advocacy, social justice, and etc. And therefore you become a target. And I'm not implying that this is why Mr. Kamaraimba or Mr. Kamaraimba is being targeted because of the things that I've just said. I'm just saying that this is natural. If you get them presence, then you are oozing with charisma. You are a natural speaker. You speak on the causes of social justice. It's obvious that if you're on the other side, you become the target of the other side. These are just facts. Today, the problem we want to talk about is one way we don't talk about for the last 14 months. I mean, the general conversation of which we are very much a part and parcel of. And we're so significant within the atom, I talk about the then and now media empire of this particular conversation. In July, last year, the particular man who we just mentioned, when the leader for the Alliance Democratic Party, I just want to provide some background of this particular case who we can talk about. He became an accused, allegedly by a 16 or 15-year-old girl. And we need to understand this, that when they talk about tampering with a minor, penetration of a minor, which is a crime in Sierra Leone. And this particular leader, Mr. Mohamed Kamaraimba Mansaray, was accused along with Madam Aruni, okay, that are the second accused in this case of a minor. And that case, they go on for quite a while now, 14 months, I would say. And Mr. Kamaraimba Mansaray is still incarcerated because of this particular issue. So despite charges, there has never been a verdict for 14 months. And many people across the country don't take up interest in this case, including civil society, the press, political organizations, both for and against. They are all into this matter. Today, we get in deputy Mr. Umfaji Kaba for can help me on this as USA begin, USA we did now, and waiting on the way forward. Mr. Kaba, forgive me for that lengthy introduction, but I think they've been quite necessary. But once again, welcome to the Then and Now Media Empire, sir.
Thank you very much, Prince. Actually, it's necessary for what you don't do, so for able to forgive, remind people and forgive.
So we don't lost your audio. I don't know why. And then okay, you're back.
You know, yeah, it's rather unfortunate. Say, the situation as it is, we really need for bring account to the attention of not only we Leonians, but the entire world, because this particular case where they also, it give we a lot of messages we get for do with human rights. And after we don't go through all these 14 months, I think say it is time for let we begin for question how we democracy they work now with country and to which direction we they go right now. Because Prince, like you rightfully put up, now 14 months this, where you make allegation for somebody, but up to this day, you're not able to prove the person guilty or innocent, but you choose for just keep and they punish them, especially where it gets for do with a health. I know say all the listeners and viewers, then they follow the what's in happening, especially with Mohamed Kamaraimba in case. You know, I remember where rumors may come out say Kamaraimba don't die. I can tell you, my brother, my phone went off the hook from all over the world. One, because of your program where they actually pioneer this issue where we get at hand, and how people show not only patriotism, but the human side of us as a people, as a nation, you know, for say, then are not right. So as it is, Prince, it is actually pathetic the way how we country they now and the direction where it lead. But I want to thank you and the entire Empire staff for a very good job. And we're very much grateful for the interest and concern Una they actually show, because Una don't play such an important, vital role on this incident, not merely because of Mohamed Kamaraimba, but the central issue here is about the human rights, our democratic process, and the direction where we all anticipate say today we country for enjoy peace. Today we country for the advance, for the develop, for the meet up to international best practices. But like I say, my brother, I don't get much to say at this particular stage as the questions then they come and the viewers then want to participate, then I'm going to respond. But I thank you very, very much for giving me this opportunity again. For we actually update globally, universally, for update every sector of the global society as to where we don't reach to democracy and what our values and how we look at the human rights aspect of individuals and citizens. Because this can happen to me today, like when Mohamed Kamaraimba did. But if we don't try for work as a team, well, we try for check some of these abuses and these excesses, it will definitely continue, and that check will not go there, it could fall on anybody. That now we fear. So now I make some of they actually volunteer. They actually go out there as activists. This not to, this not to the only issue where actually they take all my time. No. In fact, say me one of the founders of the Consortium for Progressive Political Parties. So there are a lot of challenges who they face. And we know say anytime from now they can pick up any of us. But people then get for come together, we go stand up for say, this is not just about politics. Because especially somebody who don't travel, we're well educated, we don't live, you don't travel a lot to other countries, and how even in Africa, African countries, how then they try for change the despotic way of ruling to come to a civilized democratic way of governing your people. But we have a lot of challenges, and I must commend Then and Now Empire for the meaningful contribution within the make. And I hope say we all as Leoneans will appreciate this forum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mfaji Kaba. And we equally want for use or direct or transpose the same sentiment to you and the ADP, the family of Mr. Mohamed Kamaraimba Mansaray, all those who are championing the cause for social justice in the country. I mean, we dey at a crossroad now with society. We know that, and we can go into that deeply. Unfortunately, we therefore talk about a particular issue today, but we want to tell you and your team, thank you for championing this cause. Mr. Kaba, it's obvious that to we na social media, from waiting we read, we're coming towards the end of the case of Mr. Kamaraimba Mansaray, and we say this somehow in a sort of, we don't do this normally, but in a prophetic fashion, and from calculations, because every beginning has got an end. It's philosophical. Every beginning has got an end. Everything will go up, therefore can down. If 14 months the case don't they go on, there's been trial but no verdict, at some point the case has to end. And we see that we move towards that trajectory there. But I want for let we provide a brief background as to this case, because I want fast track to USA we did today and how will they go forward as per the introduction. So like I say, from last year, July, you leader of the ADP became effectively an accused way land them in prison and in trouble. But there have been many complications and contradictions to this case. So I want to let we talk a little bit of politics, because even though we're going to be talking about fact-based things them on the platform here tonight, somehow we're going to go into conjecture, speculation a little bit, circumstances, and before we come to evidence as per the court ruling, the lawyer them, and etc. So let me look at the case going back a little bit over a year ago, in which the leader became an accused person and the contradictions. And let me look at the timeline and the scene outside this happened. I think where the street name or some street name. Waiting really happened and waiting come out of that case day in terms of the contradictions. Bring we up to speed, please, if you can. There's a reason why I ask you this. And as we go through and arrive where we are, we go see why this question was kind of significant from the very beginning.
Yeah, Prince, one thing, after the 2018 general elections, we get a meeting. And in this meeting, we decide for we get what we will call the NAI, the National Advisory Executive Council of the party. We sit down, we spend a couple of months, we try to figure out what to make we can 5th out of 17 political parties, which as a young party, we're proud of that. Then we look and say, what are the strategies that we're going to put in place for we go able for actually mobilize more membership drive, and all of that. So we laid out certain strategies the way I know will come out saying that because politics, you get other political parties, let them know that. Yes. So what we do, yes. So we start for go out. And Mohamed, if you take them back, when Mohamed Kamaraimba with colleagues and family and everything, now the kind of person we get begat, they say begat, he get heart for help people. He get heart for spend for other people. And he get passion for education. And also you are aware of the fact that they don't build primary schools where you get some villages there, about 12, 13 of them where they don't get no primary school around that Lonsar area. If I'm going to build good one up to this day because of politics, they're not approved of the school. Now, I mean, they pay the teachers them, you know, when they at the place from what we get. So we decide for let we actually attract youths them. Ages, one of the things we'll do is ages 14. So we take and say 13 to 14, by the time they reach to 2023, some of them will not reach 18, we then go qualify for let them vote. So in that respect, Mohamed get the drive for the give picking their school fees, they help pay them fees, they help them with other school materials and everything. So with this particular thing, Mohamed they on a project. They on project where they build hotel, they build house, where will be na accommodation and at the same time as an office, the party office, the same thing at McKinney. So he get that plan the way it go all over for say, instead of releasing, let it build. So this particular situation will happen, so where then old Mohamed for. Now in that in your place na kono, where na in every time where it fix. So this speaking when they refer to this underage speaking when they refer to it. There with one Lebanese man and wife one day. This speaking they go left in company, but they carry in company go, but he not a uniform. So long story short, he got for intervene and interview this woman and tell him now he go, he start for help this girl. So eventually, but this girl here, not to that kind of picking the way they take control. So in Auntie can get fed up, say before I get problem, now I return this speaking back to him people. So he go back to him people. When but in Auntie not game, he thinks them all because he not sure say he go now house. So let them come for him. So when he go there, they ask and say what happened. Well, within that period, Mohamed Kamaraimba buy telephone for that picking and that woman the way they meant, he buy telephone for them. So when he buy for them, now he ask for that this girl here. Now he say, well, he not go able for give that one day, he not give this one. So he give them all telephone. So when he reached to home, he complained to his auntie say, this woman Marion, when are the second accused by this case, whole enclose them and in telephone and everything. Now in auntie grab, he go complain to police with the expectation say, with the hope say they go to Marion for go take this speaking and thing. While then they explain this thing to police, now the policeman asks the pikin say, now you get them close here, Uda get them for you now auntie buy for now he say no. He say now Uncle Kamaraimba now in by there. So Kamaraimba he say Mohamed Kamaraimba. That's it. And the guy say, the policeman say, hey, how Kamaraimba go buy phone for you and everything? That was where the whole thing started.
Okay.
You know? So,
okay, Ufaji. Okay, Ufaji,
yeah.
many thanks for that, sir. A good way you provide a little bit of a background, and I know we can go on and on, but for time constraint, we go like for, fast forward and from there, because it's clear you don't set the narrative down as to waiting happen in the role where Kamaraimba played it, and obviously we suspect as to Usai this they go. But out of this now came the story in which there was some kind of child abuse, if you like, in which there were also charges of conspiracy. I want to talk about, I want to let you help me for understand the second accused in your position, Pandis, just for maybe a minute or two, when are the Aruni woman. Which part where Aruni play, and Aruni was equally jailed as Kamaraimba, but of course the star man Kamaraimba. But give you an idea whose part where Aruni play, why Aruni herself ended up in jail.
Maram Aruni, neither the guardian to this speaking where you go say na the complainant. Okay? Now in the men this speaking. So what in the can charge Mariam for? Then we want let Mariam come volunteer and give information where the lady say, no, not to so it be against Mohamed Kamaraimba Mansaray. Now and say in a partner to the crime.
Okay.
Yes. Now that one they make the whole arm and they don't agree for left arm. You see? So now that make them get her as the second accused because now they meant the picking. They say now they send the speaking to Kamaraimba for in-home financial and other benefits, which is not true because they wanted her to say something and the lady said, me not the lie, not to so it be. Now help this man be the help me and the family. That's how she got herself into the situation where it is right now. Hey, don't
okay.
leave it forever.
Okay, many thanks, Mfaji. So, in the end, Mr. Kamaraimba Mansaray was arrested. Charges were brought against him, and for 14 months now, we can say trial has been ongoing, but no verdict. And no one for presume waiting you think about the case, not waiting you know about the case. But I go ask you for let you give me your sentiment, your opinion about the case.
Yeah, well, you see this case, I'm not a go forward outside the court not reach it. But outside the court not reach, the first thing will actually confuse everybody about this whole thing is, we may you to know, when there is a complaint or a suspect, you get at least 48 hours to 72 hours for let you get this person for going to court. That didn't happen. It took almost a month when they keep leader day and two before the charge and go court. When he go court, the question come up whether he go elect. Elect is the word. A jury judge trial. And they argue that with the defense and the prosecution. And even the judge said, he said that the man is right for elect. So right on at that spot, the preliminary hearings of this case, the court agreed for let the man get jury judge trial. Now for let we can the next day when they adjourn the court for the next day, when the judge come, they say no, that not your discretion. You know they allow the judge jury trial anymore for Kamaraimba. So a lot of things don't happen within this trial. But what's interesting, Prince, is that all the 14 witnesses who the prosecution come up with when they testify in court, including the doctors, even the police, the way they investigate, there is nothing that actually connects Kamaraimba with this allegation. I know they try for exonerate him here, but I just want to tell you, say, even with the defense come up with about 69 witnesses, big people, they're allergic, they're agile, and people that we actually know, workers.
Well, I go there for whole today. Would they go on a quick break? But just for remind you earlier on, you say you know one for go outside the court not reach it, and we can understand issues around sub judice of the court. Yeah. Where in other words, what we talk now is based on the merits of the case, not for go before just like how you say, but you seem for the go before day. But we they come back again to that shortly. But we want just take a quick commercial break, Mr. Mfaji, if you really don't mind. So far, we'll just take a quick commercial break and we will be back. We'll take a quick commercial break and like I say, we will be back. This is not the Then and Now Media Empire and we are championing the cause of the conversation and we hope say everybody kind of the listen and the follow. And if you want to participate, but things there, feel free for do so. So we commercials still they continue. We not link every one of them together as yet. So hence you they experience the break, but pretty soon, and this is very new for us. Thank you very much. For
shock you.
Wow, I like the setup and decor. Quite impressive.
You've not seen anything yet. Wait until you taste the food.
I can't wait.
In a sense, money making.
Look at that.
I am
am sharper than knife, I am sharper than nail. Them are small like ant, I am bigger than whale. If Baba God don't lift you up, nobody will make you jump. Nobody will make you.
In Brixton, we do more of African food and seafood as well. In Peckham, we do more of African food.
A reception or function of any type, this is the place to do. Just do your booking on time and we can do catering for you.
So again, that was just another advert. Like would they say, everything has not been linked up as yet, but hopefully we will get all of that running concomitantly very soon. Okay, very soon we'll get everything running concomitantly. So one streamline, one flow. Okay, one streamline and one flow. So what we also have here is IBBs rather, the legacy. So we need for also understand that the IBBs are also a part and parcel of these adverts we kind of they do. So Fambulan, you just need for understand this, okay? So earlier on, that was Mingles Bar and Restaurant. We get two franchises. One they run na Brixton, and the other one they run. We get two franchises. One they run Brixton, and okay, and the other one they run Peckham Park Road. So we need to understand the difference. The one at Brixton, they offer more like seafood and other cuisine than we sort of might be foreign to some of us. Whereas the Peckham branch, they offer more like the local food, plasas, cassava leaf, potato leaf, and etc. So let we not forget that, yeah. So this now the then and now media empire they to now live. Let we not forget. So let me return back, here to we production where we depend tonight. And ladies and gentlemen, just a quick reminder, this is not the then and now media empire. Me when they talk to una, my name Prince Emil Koma. Obviously, today, the 26th of September, 2020. So they get a back blast, and I just need to stop that quickly. Bear with me, please. So now my name Prince Emil Kroma, and today, the 26th of September 2020, we come to now with a very special edition of this particular program, and we talk to the deputy leader of the Alliance Democratic Party, none other Mr. Mfaji Kaba. Mr. Mfaji, you've been make a point, about being able to take commercial break, so we stop you there briefly, and we'll be say we understand the sub judice of the case. So we want to deal with based on the merit of waiting we understand now, and no one for go forward with waiting for presume or assume the direction in which the court will go. So if you can take them from there again and just break down the point where you've been trying for make, sir.
Yeah, well, the point where I've been trying for make, Prince, not to say I they go ahead of the court. This starting the way don't pass. I just they tell you the stages the way we don't pass to who side we did now. For say, they come with witnesses. We not get that one day. So what thing I they try for establish here is, it is clear to everybody, say, if from the prosecution they own witnesses, if one or two of them they don't come up with something we actually link this man, then you will say there is a case. But case not into this, especially with the most recent development here. It clearly shows we say what is happening with Kamaraimba institution now purely something will get political undertone.
Okay,
obvious.
I go get for pause you there, because at some point we go come to that, because that's not the nature of the politics, and we will really want to talk about politics again. Okay, I want to let we go. You mentioned briefly something about the presiding judge. And I want to we talk about issues surrounding bail conditions, because after all, Mr. Kamaraimba Mansaray has been granted bail by a judge. We know say the bail is discretionary, but you get terms and conditions of a bail. And now the question, this is what I want to ask you, Mr. Mfaji. In terms of what you understand, because you're a very experienced man, in terms of what you understand about conditions of bail with discretionary as per the presiding judge, yet you, young person, Mr. Kamaraimba, does he meet that threshold the way they're supposed to set for a bail? Because you're entitled to a bail anyway, but there are still conditions to that bail, and the point where they try for make. Does Mr. Kamaraimba meet that condition there for the bail, and somehow he's been denied, and the question will be why?
Thank you. Yes, in Mituram, the judge grant this man bail on a Tuesday. Wednesday, Kamaraimba don't meet to all of the NTR. One, the judge say Kamaraimba for bail he forgets 2 sorties. 100 million leones, same kind. Meaning that one pandi sortie they forget Os, a western area. So he don't meet to that. He said Kamaraimba for surrender in traveling document, if any. He don't do that. He not only stop that, he get for swear an affidavit for say this salon passport we get, that the only passport we get and in possession. Then they say the other thing is, if we go report to the master and registrar 3 days per week, because when you put 3 days per week, which means there is a tendency for flight risk or that kind of thing, and so let the man report. Then if we sign a book, anytime you go to the master registrar, if we sign a book for say, I don't come or a present Nagua goes, you know. So it meets to all of that. You see, because that traveling document where the judge give as one of the conditions and one of the terms then for a grant and bail. Now, it don't lead to where Kamaraimba, even though they don't grant a bail, but is still there in incarceration, is still there in prison. What you do? After 3 days after the 2028 elections, you know, say before the election, they been born with party head office, now 30 Road in street. After the election, what you will be do is when they go out for book campaign, would they get guest house them? Usa would they rest, would plan before we shoot out. So for the North, we get a place na Makini, besides the party office, this na we own residence. Then Kenema we get, Bo we get, Freetown of course, na the headquarters. So we get all NTR. So 3 days after the elections, we also get na Makini, because money, a lot of money been there in personal, personal things they did. Then bond that host. So the report, part of the personal thing they will be did include a traveling document to this man don't they use when as a loan passport. So in 2019, he go take another passport. This passport, he use them only for go Guinea and come back. Now that Guinea immigration stamp now in date by that passport. So now that give the cause when the master and registrar say he want the man in document. And the man go swear affidavit, which if not lie, me and you to know, all the viewers who they listen know say not crime. So you not go want to do that. That man a leader for political party. You know, you not go do that. So now it's why I say I not get anything again. Now I say okay. So the lawyer now he get for tell the master registrar say this man the also again a McKinney who say even get in personal belongings don't born, and this passport happened for be one of the items the way he lost. Now I say this matter when I be reported to the police. Now I say yes. Now I say well I want police report. Now I say okay. We come hangers will send somebody from the family on 2 different occasions. for go to the LUC, that na the local unit commander, na Pamlap, way na Makini, but outside Makini, like where they go being color or where they go Kavala, he did it and get to police station. And the head of crime na the place. So we send them people there for let them go get this police report. Of course, fortunately for we, then sometimes they not be understand what they actually they try for player. So they look for this thing, they dig inside. I remember from 2018, they see the file, they see the report. Now the man say, the LUC say, he not go give this report. What he for do is that we, the lawyers, therefore write a request, and this request here, whether they write through, formally whether they write for let them get the police report. Therefore, copy 8 heads of department within the police structure department. Say, oh, the lawyer then come, then do it. 9, the lead lawyer, winner Emmanuel Safa Abulai, he even get for dispatch in assistant in chamber. Say, okay, go with a way book, hold this thing, go left then letters here, everywhere, even McKinney headquarters, na Pamlap, give them, then let you request for this thing. Let them give you let Brianka. In self go, in all get up. Then last week, one of the lawyers that will get Samuel Momodu Conte, he go get this document. He talk to the Inspector General on the phone of police. Then the Inspector General tell us, he asked, I say, you didn't make any according to what Samuel tell we. He said, you didn't make any. Now he says, no, he said, I did free to answer. Now I say, well, I think say you self as a lawyer, now you let you go get this report from the LUC and Brianka. Now I say, okay. He went there, he traveled again, go to McKinney. He did it 1 day, they not get 2 days. Now he called the Inspector General of Police, according to Ram. Now the inspector say, he said, let's talk to the LUC. When they don't talk, the LUC come back. Now he tell us, say, he no go get the report. He said, now in self, or he go send the report, the whole file to the Inspector General of Police, hoping that say, the Inspector General of Police will approve and sign before this report will be accepted by the master and registrar.
Okay, Mr. Mfaji. Again, thank you for that broad explanation. And this is quite necessary, Fambula, for let we begin to understand the nitty-gritty. Sometimes it sounds pedantic, but pedanticism sometimes is quite necessary for let we understand the roots of the entire issue. And that we try for breakdown here. So I say thank you very much to we guest. So the Judge Samuel Taylor, don't grant bail, but then the bill get then challenges their way in the meet, and then the Registrar General, I suppose the woman who they talk about now, Eileen Thomas Archibald, right?
Yes.
How much power will Eileen get? I know she's a very powerful woman by virtue of that desk the way he occupy, but if a judge don't grant a bail, of course, I believe say part of in duty now for CCA, the bail conditions are met, waiting the judge say and waiting at the bail in condition them. Okay. Do you think that, and this is more like on a personal note, because I believe that's the direction we're going, that Eileen itself is part and parcel, of this narrative way you try for stall the bail conditions of Mr. Kamaraimba by make them so complex and kind of difficult for meet?
Well, not to mere assumption that, or not to say I they speak from the way I they look at them personally. But I mean, it's obvious. Prince, me and you two know, we don't live in Europe, we don't live in other countries, America, and travel all over the place. The court, especially High Court, Supreme Court, then they interpret the law, and therefore, you as a master and registrar, your authority, they supersede, they override.
So Ufaji, you just make me point for me, sir, because maybe I not frame the question right. But that's exactly what I'm trying to drive at. The all-powerful judge, the man presiding over the case, don't finally say, well, I can grant a bail. Whose authority is it, here for undermine that authority of the judge? We don't see through all of the case and decide for grant a bail. That's the question, Mr. Mfaji.
Well, I think you're familiar with the phrase where people can say orders from above.
Okay, there we go.
From the body language and the way out and they take this thing, it's like it was a shock. They were not expecting that Kamaraimba would be granted bail. Some of them don't. When you say
they, what are you implying? Why are you insinuating? Who are the they?
Okay, like you example now. The prosecutor, Sumare, don't talk not to 110, 210, say, that's the one, that part when they call bail, because for every time when they get sitting, the defense lawyers, and they always, at the end of the day, ask for bail.
So, Sumare na the crown prosecutor, right?
Yes.
And they on record, just for clarification reasons, a day on record for saying or for denying bail condition.
Yes, it's on record.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead, please. Sir.
Several attempts have been made. They make mockery of even the defense there. So it's no secret because you don't even talk. I say that when I bail, I say I don't lock up. So when the judge they talk to her now and tell her, say, Madam Sumare, what do you think about a bail? He said, yeah, no, now your discretion, what you want to do? Because she was not expecting that question to come from the judge. Now the judge said, I grant the bail. Now he gave in terms and condition. From that moment onward, the thing took a different dimension, completely. We met the next day. The next day we meet to all the entire way Judge Samuel Otilo asked for. We Kamaraimba for meet to. We meet to that on the Wednesday, Thursday. In fact, sometimes when people in the go meet, the master registrar not even show up. Then Kisino they tell around 7 o'clock and they call there. I say, well, what in they go on this and that? They say, we still there. I say 7 o'clock. No, the master registrar not show up. I say, okay, when I left, go can that day again. In work hours done. But that's what has been happening. Then. One thing we very much we take into serious consideration, and I take this opportunity for say this, right? We get we police department in this country. Reforms done they did it, even when they go now, one of the best forces they would go in a peacekeeping operation. Previous and to this day, they're making that kind of progress. Now you see what happen. It could be a mistake according to them, or it was not timely for the judge to grant Mohamed Kamaraimba bail. But me and you too, and any right thinking somebody knows it, una don't unlawfully detain this man because these allegations here is bailable offense. Una they bail grant other people, and why una hold them? Now, what they don't do, which is very, very, very bad for the Sierra Leone police, is they don't put the police on the spot. Whose term, Prince? Whose term? Anybody? They ask anybody. Whose term where they know bail conditions? Now the normal, regular bail conditions where they give to everybody where deserve bail. Now they don't give Kamaraimba so. Whose side police report for can be a major obstacle to somebody in detention or in continued incarceration.
Okay.
Especially with this man very, very sick, as I'm speaking to you right now. It upon me because the man sick.
So Ufaji,
yes.
Many thanks again for that. But let me move, here to in sickness. Okay. I get what you try for say, the complexities around, and there was the reason why I asked you a question relating to that earlier on, which is, are you surprised that the condition come this late? Because as a bail condition, Kamaraimba, did he meet that condition? And the answer was yes. But why he wasn't given a bail up till now. But of course, we can equally say the man in case is completely different. The man in profile is completely different. He's just no ordinary. But here's the thing, Mfaji. In terms of medical report, and this is quite telling, credible and certified report has been issued by none other but the Chief Medical Officer, that are the CMO from the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. And this now a government of Sierra Leone representative or official will issue a credible medical report saying that Mr. Kamaraimba, his health condition is deteriorating by the day and he's unwell, yet he's still being incarcerated. How wrong is this, Mr. Mfaji? And waiting you read in this, that a government official don't give a certified report, but yet the court system still the hold him and the man is still in prison. Is there a disconnect between the same entity, the same institutions, but there's a disconnect? X ne the yeri Y, Y ne the yeri Z.
Prince, that one they tell you a lot about how the system don't unbolt. You see, public institutions, therefore be independent and it's necessary for strengthening them.
Yeah.
You know, you get some key players into this whole thing where they just feel say, not the law, not the determined, not the waiting they say, not the law, not the law, not to waiting in the books.
Do you want to name names or we go keep them private for
yes,
now?
Yes, I go give you the name of the same prosecutor. Okay. Say, the prosecutor Umusumare say, what happened, the defense and get independent, experienced, specialized doctors, medical doctors, for let them do, then check and do Kamaraimba in medical assessment and bring and come to the court. Umusumare say, no. The doctor went for Duam for be a government employed doctor. Now, in for Duam. What does that tell you? So then go tell us, say, as long as now we they pay you the kind of report we want for let you give, now you forgive. Because
we can't just we can't just jump to that conclusion,
no,
because after all, she's the state prosecutor.
Prince, you go jump to that conclusion logically, because what you do, normally what they do is an independent individual will go come with unbiased report.
No, but that will come, sir, after you question.
What you make at the try for?
No, hear me quickly, Mr. Mfaji.
Okay, go ahead.
I just ask, please, hear me quickly, because I want clarifications, on this note. So the state, they prosecute the case. So the state definitely, they bring in young people and come inside for their own opinion, be it medical or otherwise. This they happen at any part of the world. The only reason why, or some of the reasons why independents can come inside, now we're waiting you produce. Waiting come out of waiting you say, then for use, becomes questionable. So in the case of the state prosecutor, Madam Umu Suma, how you call him, did come in with this medical report where now government owned and people and find them biased. The defense counsel, the family of the accused or the defense can then go for independent opinion. So now this independence can come inside. That's what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense, Mr. Ifaji?
You see, more or less, we they talk the same thing. I did try for make that clarification day on that sensitive question where you ask the question day in place. But I just they tell you, say we strive for satisfy them. Okay. So the government doctors and they come, they make their assessment. If you can recall, Mohamed Kamaraimba, he was so sick at some point when they get for pull out from the prison and carry go to 34 hospital, when at the military hospital. Okay, yeah. Then give them a report. Then send them medical doctors there when the government paid one them. Then come they assess the situation and they say, yes, this man is sick.
Yeah.
Not to one, not to two, not to three. They went there. The man sick. Yeah. So I mean, for let it come look and say That one there's still not to grounds for letting grant Mohamed Kamaraimba Mansaray bail. I mean, that is to tell you that them people that get hurt, are they actual human beings where you go look somebody, they suffer, is sick, the professionals, the expert, then the specialists, they don't tell you, say, but this man needs serious medical attention now. In situation they deteriorate, you still choose forget Panadol, now a facility where they're not equipped. They're not. Yes.
Would they come towards the end, and I really want to keep this program, probably we'll get to do a second phase to this, because this is quite important, other than just making lengthy, but it's quite important, and I want to keep it on that time. I look at the report. I get what they say, sir. I do me research before I come, and you are absolutely right. And that I mentioned, a medical report from a credible CMO, where happen for be the government-owned person at some point. The chief medical officer say, this man is sick. The man is sick. The question is, what is it about the state prosecutor, Madam Sumakare? What is it about her that it continue for impose himself on the case for say, waiting makes sense, waiting logical about the case, especially in terms of the money health? It's not true. And now waiting in say, or the people that way want bring come way most likely might just say what he want say. Now who take away where you suspect say get on this case?
No, not to suspect. First and foremost, not the facts.
The facts for us, please.
The fact here is she is representing the government at court. That's one.
Fact. You're absolutely right. Yes.
Yes. Number two is with the hands of our girls and Rainbow Coalition or whatever you call it, where they deal with their situations. Then she is the legal advisor.
Sorry, repeat that again, please. Yeah, who is she?
She is one of the legal advisors to hands of our girls.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
That came from her. She said it in court.
Okay. So then why does she sit? Why does she sit on a case of this kind, Mfaji? Where una lawyer them? Why does she sit? Where obviously it's compromising, views them are going to be biased, they're going to be tainted. Why is she sitting? Why is she the prosecutor? Judge and executioner. Go on, Mfaji.
Now, Prince. She doesn't hesitate to make her utterances. You're not afraid for talk what you want for talk.
Right.
In the court, you not care the pressman them or whatever it is. In fact, at some point where the case been going, something been come up where he make comment. The judge therefore stop for let it continue. Now he tell the media like Prince and say, look, this thing for the off the record, if I catch on any newspaper I read and they are rare on the air, that particular media house they can't to court. Now me court.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So
she's a very powerful woman and very connected then.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now the whole thing is being politicized because she's getting specific orders.
Wow.
You understand? But what is right now bad about it, Prince, which is very, very important. I don't know for some reason why these people think that the Inspector General of Police office is a toy place. How can you take the Inspector General of a whole country? You can't put another spot where you don't get no business for do this. But say, before left this man, Inspector General, now for sign that report, now for approve of him, now for send it to we before it becomes an authentic document. But me go make report that police station. I go in the future. I say, well, I want copy of my report. Past then they go to Inspector General. I mean, let's be serious.
Well, you understand that within the context of when the Inspector General took an oath of office, instead of the state, he pledged his allegiance, his oath, to the head of state. And then we can do the follow-up and then the spiral in effect downwards or upwards or whatever. But that we'll leave that for another day. We come closely to the end of this program, and this is very interesting. Fambule, This is the Then and Now Media Empire platform, and me now, host and presenter, Prince Chroma. I just want to acknowledge few people on the platform. We get Mohamed Kamaraimba, a fantastic host on the platform, who is welcoming Mr. Kaba to the Then and Now Media Empire. Thank you, Ahmed. And we get Madam Beatrice Thompson. MKM got everything it takes to be our president. Okay, this absolutely is a supporter of Mohamed Kamaraimba Mansaray. Asana to Wunde, hi. Yes, sister, how you do? This sister has been supporting us unquestionably, which we want for you to do, support us questionably. But when I say unquestionably, and not me say the sister not get reserved opinion, but she's been with us for the better part of more than 4 years. Thank you, sister Asana too. Umar Banks and two. Umar Banks is watching. Sister Gloria Harding Thomas is watching. Ibrahim Samura is watching. Abdullah Kanu. Hello, Mr. Kanu. How are you, sir? Abdul Sanko is watching. Gladys Chroma is watching. Beatrice Thompson. MKM got everything. Okay, I'm just repeating that. And it's very sad. Usman Toli Toure. Alpha Umaru bin Ibrahim Barry. Mr. Barry, congratulations on your wedding, sir. The Then and Now, they wish you and your wife a very, very happy wedding program, and we hope that this union, we wish that this union will last, and welcome to this very exclusive club, Mr. Barry in New York. Watching, so and so on. We could go on and on. Mr. Victor Spain is watching. Adke is watching, and many more. Frederica Crispina Johnson, Sequence Dumbuya, Francis Doe all the way in Canada, another content producer from the life and end of things. Mr. John Conte, another long-time follower of the Then and Now. Ibrahim Sisse, Melvin Kanu, Kamara ZPK, Ibs Banks, Mr. Ibs Banks, has been very, very helpful towards the Then and Now, providing us and things when necessary. Welcome, Mr. Ibs. Ibrahim Sisse, Teresa Jabate, Philip Bangura, Hassan Jallo, Ahmed Kamara, Mr. Victor Gaba, a long-time supporter from the very beginning. Victor, how are you, sir? I hope all is well. Abu Conte, Tima Conte, Sister Fatih, how you do? You avoid me, but Ibrahim Sisse, many people watching this, and I'll be one and know. And this is quite important that this is the Then and Now Media platform, and we are championing the cause of the conversation. We are championing that very cause. You may not agree with us, and we are looking forward to a debate. You're diametrically opposed to we. This is exactly what we are looking for. We got Superman, a serious pundit, you're developed by the day. And here we are today, we talk to none other but Mr. Umfaji Kaba on something very, very important. Mr. Kaba, back to you, sir, as we come towards the end of this program. The reason why people have raised suspicion around the case of Kamaraimba is plentiful. You don't need to look far. And on the record, in the past, several people have been tried within the same kind of case relating to similar allegations, just like the one we went to against Mr. Kamaraimba Mansaray. The issue here is either them people there then charged them and then left them, or no charges were brought against them at all. One important case, and one particular case, now that of the paramount chief, and most people know this case. So the issue come back to you as to why Kamaraimba Mansaray, even though we're not a political leader, but the idea that people in the tribe for dismiss that notion, say, this is not political, but we give you all these references, including a paramount chief. Most of these cases dismissed. None has taken any sort of position at the national psyche, such as the Kamaraimba case. Why, Umfaji? Why the Kamaraimba case? And all of these other cases have been dismissed, including the paramount chief, which was a prominent case.
Well, I did look and say, as far as I don't talk and say, God forbid if anything happened to Kamaraimba, you get 4 actors who actually involved in this whole saga. One is the government, which is the executive. 2, the judiciary. 3, the prisons and health department, at the prison directorate at the prison, and number 4, PPRC, the Political Party Registration Commission. They are at the center of all these things where they happen. So you see, that for tell you, I make with the talk, actually, with the strongly advocate say, we constitution shouldn't be constitutionalized. With democracy, we care for fair forum, not to individuals no more. This should be a collective effort. Because I'm telling you, Prince, if you know the amount, you know, you get resources and everything. It's on a daily basis that the people in power, the people in democratic way of living and everything has been subjected. They don't get people for succumb to voting. People when they're in public institutions, wait for work for the general good, like when you talk to the Inspector General, when they take oath. This is a complete violation of human rights.
Absolutely.
The man entitled other people who don't build a case the way they come when they throw them under the carpet. Huh? When it comes to ACC, when it comes to this, what you want to do, come on, that's not it. What it is. Get some morals, get some ethics, maintain standards, international best practices. You know why that is good, especially you when in a public office? Because what you do, tomorrow, you not get for day for life. Either you sick or you turn down, or if not political appointment, they appoint somebody else. Now, if you go out yonder, then we assume say anything happened to Kamaraimba. How some of them people are going down there, then they sleep and think say, oh, I was part of this thing. And they abuse this man in right. I'm telling you, it is serious. Then therefore treat this thing seriously because this man is sick.
Okay. Mfaji.
Sick.
Mfaji, I just want to ask few little questions. The platform definitely need for bring you back because we need for set these clarifications and give you more time for explain these things in which we go talk less and you talk more. But the time limitations we will get, they try for make we or force we into pushing so many things, you know, here for let you address quickly. One of these things is like, you know, civil society, for example, then get this principal position now with society in terms of democratic governance for hold we leaders them to account, for bring issues of this kind where we talk about to the national platform, for highlight them, for talk about social injustices, the unequitable outcome of policies undertaken by the government. This is part of the machinery of the civil society group. How satisfied are you with the way civil society, the press, and others have conducted themselves in terms of such a huge case involving a leader of the opposition? This is no small case. Some people like you know, look down on him, but Mr. Kamaraimba Mansaray is huge. He's the leader of a political party. He's got charisma. He's been a presence and a vocal critique of this administration of President Julius Maada Bio. So my question to you again is, in terms of civil society, we get a principal position, a civic obligation, along with the fourth estate. How satisfied are you and your people with the way they don't conduct themselves for highlighting the situation of Kamaraimba and possibly others?
You know, Prince, me and you today in some forum, then we will get a credible colleague in Chernobyl. You remember
Absolutely.
one day where Chernobyl mentioned, say, he goes soon, pretty soon, call out the names of civil society organizations and media institutions there, when and then at the payroll.
It's coming already, it's coming out, yeah.
Yes, the ethical aspect of it, people have lost it. Sycophancy, bootlicking, and because they want to survive, that they know what they're supposed to do, and which is unfair to the society. Because whichever way you look at it, that if you know, say this thing where they happen, so in all right, or with society, it is against the doctrines of a democratic, proper democratic system, or how you run a country, how you govern your citizens. And you think, say, that brown envelope is far more better compared to somebody's life. You get some, but you know how the thing don't be now? Then one way they look at things objectively this time around, then they tell them, say, they want APC people there. Because that they name Conte or that they name Kamara or that they name, yes. They want them where then tend and they criticize the previous government and whatnot. Today you don't hear them. You don't. This is the kind of sick society where we get.
Okay. Again,
Prince,
thank you. I get a few short questions for you.
So, yeah.
I get a few short questions for you, so you get forgive me. We'll get like 10 minutes for answer so many questions, and hopefully we can pack that.
All right. So let's go ahead.
Yeah, the state of trial and with justice system, they under questioning. Part of the question why I just asked this now about particular organizations is equally related to waiting at the ask you about the state of trial and justice system now in country, how then they function. How satisfied are you with the state of trial and with justice system now in country?
We have good judges, we have good lawyers, we have good magistrates. But I'm telling you, the politicization of then different like the organs there. You see the allegation will come out when they say the parliament and the police are the most corrupt institution of the country. Now that they make laws, then now you don't come back to the police, you don't come, the judiciary is just rotten. You understand? People in the right way, it thinks no matter how critical situation be, it go rather prefer let them sit down and talk and then go to court. It go find way for let them talk because the delay there, when they go assign you case and to which judge or to which magistrate, when they under the political influence of the gods that be today.
Okay.
This has been going on for decades and decades in this country. And until we as citizens are prepared and ready to confront these things head on, not to for take cutlass, not to for go fight, no, not to that kind of thing. But let the leaders them where they not the government or where they head their institution, let them know say the people are ready for a change and they want to change and all this for stop. Because now the public servant, then they pay una out of the consolidated money. Why una feel say una for cherry pick? Would have the better person in the society would have forget a free meal ticket, even though he violate, he abuse the law, he violate them, you still think say that person there for go scot-free, but this person will for punish him because Minister so or so person or Chief Justice or Inspector General or what they call get interest in that case. Okay. I just give them as example. I'm not saying they are involved, but I'm not.
I get it, and I get it, and I believe say the people that will listen to you and we subsequently get for listen to you go understand where you're coming from. Now, I could say we definitely get for bring this interview has been really interesting and important, and I'm enjoying every aspect of it because you're addressing the issues and I see the emotions. We managed to draw the emotions out of you, which talks about the genuinity of you in terms of the country and the direction in which it is heading. The judge in this particular case, Mr. Mfaji, has he used his office judiciously? They talk about you reflecting from the very beginning because we in the end, it seemed like he's trying to make up, and this not just me presumption, by granting a bill that should have been granted a long time ago. But anyway, there's a saying, better late than never. So my question to you, this judge presiding over this matter, Mr. Kaba, has he presided over this matter judiciously in your view or opinion?
He has not, in my view. And I will explain it. You know, like where are they interact or where are they go on official meetings or workshops or whatnot with a lot of the public people the way they had their institutions here. Even if you recall one interview with me and several others, they express sympathy for some of the women of their offices there. Say the politics don't get into them like the chairman for PPRs. He's a gentleman. Now, good, fine man. But I'm telling you, all of them, their hands are tied. Why should we have this? Why don't we actually allow them to do their job independently, freely, and with their mandate, and you strengthen their capacity? That will build a decent, good society. We go develop, we go progress. But when somebody wants to do a job, then you boss system, not to one, then they pantap you like hawk. They only watch you for see what you want for do now. You can for do what it is. Look, that particular judge, I'm telling you, on most occasions where they preside over this case, if they reach to a certain point, it put recess by the court, it go inside first. And for go make telephone call. And at this stage now, we don't reach and this and that. I mean, the man not get chance for use in your own discretion. You see the frustration, Panam. Like most of them, I'm telling you, Prince, I'm not defending him. But I just look and say, the system has got to a point where are we heading to?
Okay.
Where?
Okay, Mfaji. Back to where you talk about the system, and this is the question. The system obviously supposed to uphold and maintain, promote and defend the ideals of free, transparent, accountable, and fair trial, irrespective of his social status. So the reason why I say this, because I pose the question to you, sir, that Kamaraimba, you leader, of course, you're not the number 2 man, so you're a very powerful man yourself in terms of that one political hierarchy and politically speaking of the country. But in terms of social justice, Kamaraimba get all the spotlight on him, and there are thousands of others that are languishing in our prison systems and other systems in the country that are not able to get spotlight on them, and the law is being used against them in an inappropriate manner. In other words, they are victims of their own laws. What are your view about this particular issue and generally about human rights in the country?
We need reforms. We should address them head on. We need reforms. The structure. You see, that vicious circle, the way this particular in governance, it unpick the one the way you don't think, say, oh, they are with them within a power. And I shouldn't do it. You know, Prince, is that they run the show now anymore. Because now the people, they suffer. There is no continuity of a good project. We don't even get a 5-year laid out development plan for this country. You focus, you take your eyes off the ball and focus on revenging. That 5 years they can't also, what you go say? There are good aspects, good things and the way government they do. When you do the good thing, even with political parties, that make the opposition day. We go compliment you. But when you know they do the two way good for the general public, for the country, constructively, objectively, we go criticize. If that means you have to gather all of us, especially we were there at the consortium of progressive political parties, we are not scared to be there. Take us to jail.
So I'm not even ask you relating to that. But I say there is so much more for ask, but we go get for bring you come back shortly because we want to talk about the ADP, we want to talk about the PPRC, we want to talk about the consortium, and we want to talk about the way forward 2023, the APC convention, and probably forming an alliance because we're already in an alliance, we want to call a consortium with other political parties. But that is for another day, Mr. Mfaji. So my final 2 or 3 questions to you, if you can address them shortly, Mr. Kaba. Do you see an end to this Kamaraimba saga anytime soon? The idea that a judge has granted bail and then almost 3 weeks on, Mr. Kamaraimba is still in prison. Do you foresee an end to this saga very soon?
Yes, I see, because what you do, no matter how you look at them, in a post, we get very strong faith and I believe in the God. I shall say what you happy, whether they be lekker or not, now God don't destine that say it will come from the blues for Lady Mankawan. But in real lifetime, it will happen. Because what you do, this that what the one who all being concerned, we all say, well, what in this man not do now in case no go done for 14 months, they go to 15 months. When I left this man if case no be. Therefore, that pronouncement, the way they don't make so say they don't grant the man bill, they don't meet up to that, Prince. Nobody know the reverse that one day. But you know what you would hear from the judiciary circle? Then they say granting a bail is optional. We can get them or we not go get them. Well, we don't see them when they say juror judge trial and it changed to judge trial. But as they say to we all, let us have patience. We don't come out the long way and let we see how they will take this. When they make any wrong step to this particular issue when they don't grant the mandate, where you don't meet to all. You understand? I mean, there is nothing there. They're not go able for change and then go delay the process. But I make with the try now.
But they cannot stop. But they cannot stop the process. They can delay the process, but they cannot stop.
They can delay the process, but they can't stop it. They can't stop it as it don't reach so now. Because Prince he panel, Neo he panel.
Yeah, I agree, Mr. Umfaji. Mr. Umfaji, this is the question for you, sir.
We all, the international community, they watch them. You know,
Mr. Umfaji, we can't stop this interview without asking you this question that a few weeks ago, in the early part of September, rumors went viral that your man, the #1 man in the ADP, Mr. Kamaraimba Mansaray, was dead. Okay, were you behind these rumors to help to pile pressure on the judiciary and the government, you know, to do something about Mr. Kamaraimba Mansaray?
No, I know they engage into short, irresponsible activities. I'm a leader of a political party, and standards, and one for be bright example, where you see would refer to will form a consortium, one for bring about changes. I know they get into social media for do this kind of thing, but one thing I can tell you, with fact that very weekend, Kamaraimba institution, it deteriorated so much so that even the prison officers and everything, the whole world, everybody was concerned. Now I say, I'm glad the kind of patriotism way Sierra Leoneans show. Everybody come out for say, he don't die, but let them left this man, what's in the all for? That was the time the people show their emotions. That listen, what you like to do so is not right. But are they listening? That's the question.
Are they listening? That's a good question on reflection. Are they listening? I wish I could end this program on that particular question. It would have been the high note and left for the Sierra Leonean people to answer, are they listening? But of course, they will take that into account and they will have to answer that question on whether the government is listening and the government itself. But I have certainly 2 or 3 questions as a political leader yourself before you're closing this program. Recently, we saw the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone going to attend the UNGA, that's the United Nations Security Council meeting in New York, and during an SDG preliminary meeting before the UNGA meeting, he said these words. I could have played the tape for you, but I believe you will have heard it. You've heard it, in which he said that Sierra Leoneans, okay, a household, they are saving $500 per head in terms of education as a consequence of his free and quality education. What's your sentiment or perspective on that pronouncement by the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, sir?
It's sort of unfortunate, I'm not able to talk for him because now he knows I ain't with that arithmetic.
Okay, so I go left right there. But this is my final 2 questions to you. I want to go back to the judiciary because now we don't play on lately, and we mention the judiciary quite often in this interview and for very good reasons. And I've been want to ask about the state of optimism, although we condemn them in many respects, but there have been some feathers not in cap lately. In other words, the issue of Tusim, the cybercrime law, the abolition of the 5th, how do you call it? Something the libel, yes, the death penalty, the libel law, they've reversed all of this. So, I mean, this is supposed to be a cap, not a feather, but it kind of complicated when it comes to the issue of Kamaraimba. So my question to you is, even though we hold responsible for all of these things, do you honestly think that the judiciary, they try for clean themselves up, or it's just a situation of pool? At one moment, if you are under the camera and the attack is so vicious that you try to do something for mitigate the attack. Is there sincerity within the judiciary process?
Well, Kamaraimba, in case not to an isolated one, we are a victim of circumstances with political undertone. When you take from my own side as a politician, now that I make that statement, one of the statements they want to make, I say, as a political party, they within the opposition, we get a right by the Constitution for watch, for monitor the government. So when government do something way good, we will compliment them. But when you do something way contravene the law, it tamper with the people, the citizens, their rights. Okay, it is our place where you misplace priorities. We're not good for the country. Where you come up with agendas where actually people then look and say it is not wholesome, 100% good. Let we add, let voices then come inside. Prince could say something there. Not look and say because Prince is outside my government, Prince is not part of me, he's in opposition, Prince a critic, they use in media and everything. So with that, I know they listen, I know they pay attention. No, let I tell you today, yeah. When some of them here they meet them, I swear with the implementation, then they teach me you two idea. But they don't want to give you their thing, they say, oh, now Prince idea this. No, it's fine. Once it's good for the country. So anything that they do that is actually leading towards a decent way of life for people, yes, we're glad for them and we go support them. And we're not going to allow let anybody cry them down and everything. But the judiciary, they do it own. Not to say from where they don't do good things. So no, even that innovation, you don't hide and not away Ghana and other countries, they don't go into IT business and computer. We then are taking paperwork and get to their offices and whatnot.
So my final question to you, Umfaji, we've run out of time, obviously. We just on the mark. So if you can do this under 60 seconds, that would be appreciated. Okay. So the condition of your leader, Mr. Kamaraimba Mansaray, of course, the health situation they deteriorate, but it could be as a consequence of being locked up for this long. When eventually he does come out, because we believe he will come out, we do believe that, because if the government do make that mistake for lose Kamaraimba, it's on them, and that's not going to be a good thing. So they're going to have to let him go at some point. And when he come out, do you think he will have lost any of that flavor, for some of the reason why they suspect, say, then finally, throw this attempt for? Do you think he will have lost any of this, or he will come back even more renewed with new vigor? Because it seemed like a man where they stand for the Sierra Leonean people, and the things the way they try for champion now because of Sierra Leonean them. I've watched dozens of his tapes. It seemed like now a huge typical nationalist Sierra Leonean patriot.
That's very true of Mohamed Kamaraimba Mansaray. Let me tell you something. If anybody they go with that assumption, they say we Kamaraimba come out to that place, they will continue for do a job as a leader of an opposition party. Tell the person say he make mistake. Kamaraimba will continue to fight for the people of this country. Trust me. You see, in health situation, even when he bad, like he bad so. When he come, you don't want to give people in that face, they say, I'm even suffering. You understand? He's so full of energy. The man is so determined. He always stay in good spirit. Now I'm going to tell ourselves, say, oh, no worry, no worry. So in politics, then it will happen. But one day I will come out. He's in good spirit. And he will continue with the fight for the people of this country. He don't hate President Bio. He don't hate the government, not in government, not in president. But we young people and get for land for accept what's in the truth. And if somebody there, when they look at her, if you for even appreciate that person because if they guide you, if they bring to your attention, say, this is the way they do so, you know, go find for the people, you know, go find for the country for tomorrow, and buy this and that, you know, because it's politics. But this is what we've not still embraced. Objective, constructive criticisms for the betterment of something that is wrong with our culture of tolerance, accommodation.
In fact, can we end on that note on the basis of which you just said, because this is a higher note. You get for be a Whitney Houston in terms of music genius for hit that higher note. That this is what we've not embraced in terms of criticism. For let we accept the way somebody criticized now in the goodness of the country, not only because you belong to a political party, as we tend for to do because of identity politics. I want to tell you, thank you very, very much, Mfaji. And this interview does not really end here, Fambulem, because I know say, even as we come to the end, I see people are still glued to the conversation because it's been very, very interesting. So we really need to bring the brother back because there is so much for that we talk about. For example, we not even talk about empathy, the ADP, whether it has been finally hijacked away from them, the PPRC, Dr. Prince Harding, Prince Koka, Zainab Mosire, and so much more in 2023, the coalition and the consortium and etc. So there's so much more for talk about. And Fambulele will not give up. The conversation continue. I just want to do a quick, because we've been supposed to do this twice, but the conversation will be so interesting that they talk about commercial that we just continue on. We not even had a break. So let we do with due diligence quickly and do a quick commercial. And we go start with we own intro where we use as outro as well. And then Fambulele will not we will use that in the end, but we get few people that we don't begin to advertise with we, and this is now IBB's legacy. IBB's legacy don't begin to advertise with we, and we're very proud for associate ourselves with IBB legacy, and that also has to do with Mingles Bar and Restaurant, and we just try for play a little bit of a clip from Mingles Bar and Restaurant.
It shock you, it shock you, it shock you.
Wow, I like the setup and decor. Quite impressive.
You've not seen anything yet. Wait until you taste the food.
I can't wait.
Innocence, money make you
Look at that.
I am sharper than knife, I am sharper than nail. Them are small like ant, I am bigger than whale. When Baba God don't lift you up, nobody will make you jump. Nobody will make you.
In Brixton, we do more of African food and seafood as well. In Peckham, we do more of African food.
A reception or function of any type, this is the place to do. Just do your booking on time and we can do catering for you.
Right, so you see it for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Mingles Bar and Restaurant and Takeaway. You can contact them on the details that you see displayed on the screen and the address. Just if you want to visit them, you can use the addresses below. They've got two spots. One is in Brixton and the other is in Peckham Park Road. I've been there myself many times and I never regret being there, and I will never stop going there because the food is like, that's Brixton and that's Mingles. Also, we do have IBB's legacy. We haven't done the video yet, so ladies and gentlemen, you will have to forgive me in terms of the video. We haven't done it yet, but you can see on the ticker scroller at the bottom, you can find them there. That's IBB's. So don't forget to visit IBB's at 53 Camberwell Road. They equally do exclusively African food, and if you want foreign cuisines, they are there as well. And remember that you can also order. And you've got Francis, that's Cool and Cozy in Southampton Way. They double up because you can also find in Southampton Way Alexis, that's the new joint, but within an old spot. That's Calizo. We used to call it Calizo or Samkal. So don't forget, all of these adverts will be coming up formidably on this platform. And in terms of one seamless effort in which one will come after the other. But this is just the beginning. But for today, ladies and gentlemen, what we've had on the platform is that of a conversation, a lecture column or interview with the second in command of the Alliance Democratic Party on one of the most charismatic leaders for emerge in the Republic of Sierra Leone this 21st century. We not a shy, we sort of very vocal. We get the temerity and the audacity. We make most people in the suspect say part of the predicament where they suffer right now as a consequence of this very vociferous action that we can take, especially so against a sitting government. Famulem, we've come effectively to the end of this conversation. And I don't know whether Mfaji get 1 minute or 30 seconds you want to round up. Mfaji, you want to say something finally, 30 seconds, 1 minute?
Yes, sorry, light just go. So
there we go.
But
I hope they don't accuse you to make this up.
No. No, I mean you see steps say I did that somehow. Yeah, but what I want to say is, Prince, you know, I can't find words to express how appreciative on behalf of the party and with Kamaraimba too. I tell and say I go there on. I want to tell you thank you and other media houses them when I don't really play on your own part, and that is true patriotism. And I appeal also to Sierra Leoneans, they wouldn't get international connections or wouldn't they work na international organizations. But let us see how best they can contribute and bring her to the attention, especially the human rights organizations. Let them at least try to do small work. Let us see what will happen. Because like I say, Mohamed Kamaraimba, because na politician and like where you don't describe him and all of that. Yes, people get interest and they see the political undertone, what is wrong there, what is not good with the judiciary. But think about somebody else where just for Panadol, it will run 8 months in jail.
Absolutely. That's a travesty.
You know, so let it be a fight for we all, because it will be beneficial to we, and it will find we as the elders then now for let we left good legacy for we picking.
Anyway, Mfaji, the producer then the signal me say I've run out of time. And like I say again, definitely you will come again. I think we push stuff, more than 15 minutes into the time. And many thanks.
Thank you.
And many thanks. Let Kamaraimba know say we play with your own part. It's not actually personal, it's just a civic responsibility that we owe an obligation to the system for make sure say the system works well. Hold we leaders them into account. That's what we are doing. And if something is wrong, regardless of who is at the other end of the stick, we will do the same thing. So we wish well, we wish them a speedy recovery. We hope the government will do the right thing as supposed for let them go let it seek medical attention and so that we go once again look at ourselves as one family. Many thanks, Fambulem. And like I say, I want to thank you all for listening. And this has been a Then and Now production. I've been your uncle, Mr. Prince Emil Krumah, at the left corner with we intro and outro. And this has been a Then and Now. On Monday, we'll not forget tomorrow, we get the C4C. We get one of the C4C official, Mr. Nyama, will be on the platform, and we'll know what they go on within the C4C. So very interesting conversation as well. Okay, we'll not forget for tuning to the Then and Now. Many thanks for listening, and good night. That is it. We've come to the end of this particular program. And I say thank you very much to all for tuning in.